There we go. There we go. And the StreamYard is up and running. And I apologize for no entrance music, but I'm on the road again, folks, which means that we've got to do After Dark with me doing it from the phone. I'm TJ. That is Adam. Welcome to Amigos After Dark. Thank you for tuning in and being with us tonight. And I got to tell you, man, like I watched that Vince McMahon documentary last week, right? Or over the course of this week.
Yeah.
And I got so engrossed in the thing that I wound up glued to it and I binge watched it. And it was insane because the final episode gets to everything that's going on with Vince now. And of course, Vince did not want to come back on for the final episode and maybe respond or do something that would be remotely close to like, I've got nothing to hide. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, Vince McMahon, former owner of WWE and former shareholder in TKO Holdings, ended up selling his stock earlier this year and stepping away because he was named in a lawsuit by one of his former employees for sexual misconduct, sex trafficking, and up to and including forcing himself on different people.
Do we know who actually alleged those charges?
I've got the name wrote down at home. I don't have it with me, so but she is a former WWE employee.
Okay.
Named in the lawsuit was also former executive vice president of talent relations, John Laurinaitis.
Okay.
And they had an unnamed wrestler that was named in it. However, in the documentary on Netflix, they did identify this wrestler as Brock Lesnar.
Huh.
Now they never said or confirmed or denied whether Lesnar did anything or not, but the way Lesnar was mentioned in it was that this individual filing the suit, she had the text message from Vince to Lesnar with her closed captioned in the text telling Lesnar that, yeah, whenever he wanted to bang her, she was a part of the deal for him signing his contract.
Yeah, because that's not remotely creepy at all.
No, not at all, you know?
Yeah.
So then, you know me. Once I'm intrigued by something, I'm going to start digging in further and try to figure it out, right?
Right.
Well, earlier this week on the AP Wire, a news story broke that is now wrapping the former doctor from the WWE into this lawsuit, stating that he was involved in the sexual acts. And this is the part that really got me. Like, I had to pull over and throw up. But in the process of one of these sexual acts, the doctor was getting his, and Vince McMahon allegedly pooped on her head.
It's like even using the joke about making someone a shithead just doesn't seem to be applicable here.
I mean, I can't figure out how to make that a joke. And it's so wildly absurd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made the joke when this first broke. I was like, oh man, it's Vince McMahon. He poops on people.
Yeah.
Little did I know how right I really was.
TJ the Prophet.
Maybe. But yes, he. It said in there that he defecated on her head, and then afterwards forced her to continue these sexual acts.
Jeez.
And I'm like, okay, I have a friend, whether purposely or inadvertently, admitted on a show that he waffle stomps. Adam, I am sure you remember this.
Yes, I do.
And I was disturbed by that.
Yeah,
Because
we all were.
I was like, no shower deserves your turd being punched through the drain by your foot.
Yeah.
Granted, now as he explained a few things, there were a couple of things that made sense, and I could maybe give him that. Like, hey, once you're done, it's real easy to clean up. You just grab the wand. And put some soap on it and then hose it off. And
yeah, I think that still needs to, be put in its proper bowl.
Well, but it's like, I cannot believe that went that route,
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Why would you admit to anyone ever that you do? I mean, that's like one of those things. Hey, that's your house. It's private. You leave it there.
Yeah.
Not this friend of mine. He comes out and goes, well, I waffle stomp. What you do? What? And I was even so naive to it that I had to ask the question stupidly. What's waffle stomping?
Yeah.
Boy, I got an answer.
Yeah. We learned today, or we learned that day.
We learned that day. And what I learned, I'm like, oh my God, no, why? I feel so sorry for that shower drain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, kind of coming full circle with that, that was bad enough.
Yeah.
Then to hear this about Vince McMahon.
On top of another human being.
On her head.
While already taking advantage of that person. And then forcing her to continue the acts that she was already doing.
Correct. Which kind of brings it around to... You don't want to think about it. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. You don't want to think about it. You know what I mean?
But here we are having a discussion about it.
Yeah, because it hit the news.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wow. And in this AP story, which I wish I had it here, and I apologize to everyone for not having it. But in that AP Network news story, it named the doctor, Vince McMahon, herself, the lady filing the suit, and they said very pointedly, like her lawyer is saying, hey, this is a slam dunk. We got this. Alluding to the fact that they have enough evidence to not only get the lawsuit won, but to also potentially go after Vince McMahon on the criminal side.
And that'd be a good reason to have Vince McMahon be distanced from the WWE.
And exactly why he was.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the product of the WWE itself now and in the capable hands, and I do say this and I mean it, very capable hands of Paul Triple H Levesque. My God.
I know. To me, the storylines have gotten a lot better.
The whole product is so much better with Vince's son-in-law in charge.
Yeah.
I would never want to take away from that because it is enjoyable again. It's something that there's something in it now for everybody. And yeah, you don't want to lose that base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So even if Vince beats all of it, or the other story that came out recently, that story saying that Vince McMahon believes that he will get a presidential pardon for this from Donald Trump if Trump is elected. And the only thing I could say to that is I really, really sincerely hope that Trump is not that stupid.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it is up to him on whether he decides to allow the pardon or not. It won't look good if he does.
No, it won't. But I mean, let's face it. Vince McMahon did a lot. He had the vision. He realized his vision. Now Paul Levesque is taking it to the next level in a way that only he can. You put Vince back into a position where he has a position of power and authority over WWE again, that's going to go away.
Yeah.
And Vince had a lot of good things that he did, but he had a lot of things that were not so kosher, as was described in this documentary. There were things in there of Vince arranging 14, 15, 16-year-old boys for one of his athletes.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, we're talking like some mid-level Epstein Island shit here.
Yeah.
And you're going, what? No. What? No. The whole documentary. Now, Bruce Pritchard came out at the end of the documentary, and he said he was not happy with it because he thought the world of Vince McMahon. He felt it was a gotcha piece. If you actually, and I highly recommend everybody to please sit down on your Netflix account, bring up Mr. McMahon, the documentary, and watch it. Because my personal impression from it was not that it was a gotcha piece. It was a vision from all sides.
I mean, it's going to appear like a gotcha piece because of the negativity toward McMahon.
And I can see that, where somebody would say that.
That's about it. I mean, if you're speaking the truth, and that's how it comes out, that's just is what it is. Sorry about you.
Triple H was unhappy with it, not so much from it made Vince look bad point of view, more of it made the company look like it was built on something very dirty point of view. And that's his baby now.
Yeah, and being that right now the stuff with Mr. McMahon is allegedly, if it comes out to be true, That's kind of is what it is. You can't dismiss it if it actually comes out as being truth.
Well,
Right now, there's just that caveat of allegedly.
right. Well, it kind of makes me go back to the second season of Jag. Yeah, of all places, I'm actually going to compare this.
Okay.
The final episode of that second season, they got evidence towards the end of the trial that proved that the defendant actually did do the murder. He did commit the murder that he was being accused of.
Okay.
And the defendant turned around and looked at Catherine Bell's character, Sarah McKenzie, and says, do something, object, something. And she turned around and she looked at him and she goes, well, what do you want me to do? You can't make a murder go away.
Yeah.
And I mean, rather cold. Of course, she was also playing a Marine, so you expect that.
Well, yeah.
But also can very well apply here. Because, you know, if it is true, then what you gotta have the attitude at that point of like, what do you want us to do, Vince? You can't make sex trafficking go away. But the docuseries was very, very eye-opening. And in my looking at it from an objective point of view, I think very well put together. And I do apologize, you know, if for some odd, unfathomable reason they do listen to this program later. I do apologize to Shane and Stephanie and Paul Levesque, you know, because I know that that's their family, and I can understand and even appreciate to a certain extent where that will be very painful if it turns out to be true, to be able to swallow that.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is
a rough pill.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, if it is true and it was sex trafficking, you cannot make that go away.
Yeah.
And of course, I feel, very, I feel very deeply for the family that's involved, where they want to stick up. But, you know, I mean, for crying out loud, like I said, I've got a friend that admitted to us that he waffle stomped. That was bad enough. McMahon was pooping on people.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But here's another point, and I heard this point made on another podcast, and I've got to be honest with it. Because when I sat back and I thought about it, I'm like, you know, you really got to be a messed up individual if you're going to make up the whole thing of somebody pooped on your head.
Yeah, that's one of those you can't make this stuff up type of deals.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you did, what's your angle?
And you're sitting there like, what? Why didn't you move? You just watched the bomb come out of the bomb bay chute and hit you in the head?
Thank you. Push the button for fan.
I mean, it's disturbing. But you've got to be one twisted individual if you've made it up. Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. And I don't see it being somebody making that up. I really don't. So.
Yeah, I don't either, really.
I've got
No, I mean, yeah, that's, ew. And not to mention, I mean, how horrible would that be if you're laying down and then all of a sudden you wake up and you see the big moon and then the Bombay doors open up and then you have to sit there and watch the prairie dog come out to play. Yeah, shithead's doing shithead's things, according to what Corey says. Yeah, I mean, that fits.
Yeah, one thing you have to take into account here is the consistency.
Yeah, it's been very...
I mean, no, the consistency of the drop.
Oh, no! God, I don't want to take that into consideration. I mean, holy cow. Why would you want to do?
Well, no, because we don't know, and I'm glad that I don't know. I'm sure you're glad you don't know.
Oh, God, just the image. Thank you, because you know how vivid of an imagination I have, and
Yes, I do.
Yeah, unfortunately, you just put the mental image of Mugu Poo Stew flying all over somebody's head in my head. Oh, gross.
Yeah.
And I've got to agree with Corey. Some people get into that. I personally think it's gross. He's absolutely right.
I'm with you, Corey. It can stay in the toilet bowl or wherever. Yeah, it's not something I would do. No.
Nobody deserves to see the flight of the brown eye. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Just disturbing. So, yeah, that's... God. Oh.
I'm sure we both know someone who might want to know.
Now, I'm certain I don't know anyone that would want to know what that looks like.
You sure? No one who enjoys pictures of that.
Well, I know somebody who enjoys pictures of that, but I don't think he wants to see it firsthand hitting him.
Well, not hitting him, but maybe hitting her.
Well, I mean, maybe if he was the one doing the pooing. I mean, could you imagine if somebody... Could you imagine, being the police and getting that call? 911, what is your emergency? Yes. I have been the victim of a defecation on my head. You've been a victim of what?
It was a drive-by pooping.
That I was the victim of a drive-by pooing. They drove up in front of my home, and I laid down on the front porch, and they pooed on my head. Oh, my God.
Well, from the way you made it sound earlier, it sounded like this young lady in question was doing something else while Mr. McMahon took a deuce.
So, like I said, and I'll have to follow up with this on Sunday's show, but the long and the short of it from the AP story that I got was she was being trafficked to the WWE's doctor, their wellness doctor, and he was in the middle of a lewd act when McMahon
allegedly
turned around and made her join the Vince McMahon Smell My Ass Club. How's it going, Mikey? So he turns around, he defecates on her head, and then forces her to continue sexual acts right after he did it. Allegedly. My problem is I can't force myself. I'm forcing myself to say allegedly because I can't believe that somebody would make that up.
You'd hope that someone wouldn't make it up. But, that's why there's a trial and people's word just isn't taken as it is.
Well, now further digging in further into this whole McMahon thing, the lawyers have requested, her lawyers have now requested that all NCAs, which NCA is a non-disclosure agreement, all NCAs by WWE and TKO get waived. And all the employees that are under these are released so they can testify.
Okay, well,
and they've asked that the court vacate
for a court hearing. They need the facts, and they need to make sure the people who may have these facts don't or aren't in fear of a job loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Any type of repercussion.
So I have to sit back and say I do feel sorry for Triple H, because when you look at that, now he's not only got creative that he's trying to run, and that takes a lot with WWE. He also has damage control over here that he's got to do because of his father-in-law.
Yeah. Mr. McMahon literally started a shitstorm.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And then I sit here and I'm like, well, where did McMahon get the idea? Did he get the idea of when Triple H and Shawn Michaels shoved his head in Big Show's butt? I mean, why?
Or what about when all of the fecal material was poured on top of people?
Oh, when they dumped the porta potty?
Yeah.
But why would you want to do that in real life? I mean, why?
Some people have really strange kinks, TJ. It's hard to explain why.
I mean, I think someone eating an ass is a weird kink.
Yeah, but yet there are people who would think that that's just fine as long as it's prepared properly.
It's not chocolate.
I know. Trust me, you're preaching to the choir.
Now, I mean, I've watched everybody knows that one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Californication.
Right.
And in the 6th season, you had this wildly, decadence incarnate, crazy, basically rock star that his whole thing was, he was decadence incarnate. And one of the things he liked to do was eat a candy bar out of the vajayjay. But you know what? Now that one I could do. I could get behind that one. I could understand that. Like, hey, I'm getting a Snickers bar and I'm getting to eat a little bit of box. Cool, I'm in. But to let Montezuma's revenge run all over somebody's head, I don't understand that.
I don't either, honestly, TJ.
I mean, it's creepy. What do you do with this? And then to hear that, the former president, potential president-elect, depending on how the election goes, is willing to pardon him for that. Dude, you are telling him it's okay to poop on people. against their will.
The only thing more extreme than a pardon would be to give him like a position in the cabinet.
Oh,
After
God,
that.
no. Oh, God, no. No. Don't let that. No, that could not happen.
What, make him the head of foreign affairs or
Foreign
something?
affairs.
Yeah,
Doesn't
sure.
Trump have enough of those on his own?
Yeah, I think he got in trouble with something along those lines.
I believe so. I mean, what do? You're sitting there going, I cannot believe he poops on people. And not in the figurative sense, like actually poops on people.
Yeah, I understand. There's just, yeah, I don't even have words. It's allegedly. That's my word. Allegedly.
Allegedly. All right. So you're going with the Squirrely Dan side of things and just going with allegedlys.
Well, I kind of have to be there. It's a story that you hope no one ever makes up, but it's borderline. You can't make this stuff up. So what are you supposed to do other than just wait for everything to kind of come out the way it's supposed to, I guess, for the truth
Well,
to
no,
be
don't
found.
word it like that. I don't want to know how it's.
Does it drive you nutty when I mention how it'll come out?
Oh, Lord.
Is it a bit corny?
This is ridiculous. How many more of those can you come up with?
I don't know. We'll see as the night progresses.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm just like, ugh. Oh, gross.
Don't worry. I'll keep it pushing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, no, I'm. One of the things that I was listening to this today, and I was hearing a lot about this while I was at work. Right. You know, there's a lot of people that are out there that they're getting real amped up over the election.
Okay.
And of course, it's bearing down on us. We know it's coming. And there's a lot of back and forth about the election this year. Because you literally have Dumb and Dumber running against each other.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are having difficulty making a decision. Now, here's the thing. Not too many years ago, this country was of the firm and solid belief that your vote is your vote. It's private.
Yeah, I remember back in the day where you really didn't discuss. You just were where you were. You could discuss individual issues.
Yeah, and you did. Like, you know, that was your politics discussions.
Yeah, but you
individual issues.
It wasn't based on the person you were voting for.
No. And, you know, that was something that was, to me, it was a really great time because you were not of the decision that you had to vote this way to keep your friends. You were actually able to go in there and vote your conscience, and you made your decision. And then when that vote was done, you know, somebody asked you, hey, how'd you vote? Hey, none of your fucking business. That's how I voted. And that was the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know what occurred and how and why this occurred, but now all of the sudden It's this hot button item. It's this hot button issue. And you actually do have friendships that are good friendships that are being determined based on how you vote. Like,
well, it's ridiculous, really, because we should all be adults here. We should be able to recognize differences.
I certainly agree.
And still be able to be friends, or at least be amicable toward people, even if they're voting differently. But apparently that's not how things go nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as much as I hate to do this, and I know it's a short show, everybody, please, I apologize tonight. We are going to dive more in depth into this on Sunday. I wanted to check in, not forget, but I have got my phone blowing up right now with work and with a family issue that's come up. And I have to, I've got to log out of the show and take care of this. This family issue, I will fill you guys in as I have more information. But thank you. I'm sorry for the short show tonight, everybody. I have to take care of this. Thank you for tuning in for Amigos After Dark tonight. Adam, we're going to get into how your mom is doing, and hopefully she's doing better. I hope. Yes?
Yes, so far. Yeah.
Okay, great. But I have missed 3 calls on what's going on right now, so I have to call back the one. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry we're cutting it short, but unfortunately, I do have a family issue that has come up, and I have to take care of it. I am TJ. That is Adam. This has been Amigos After Dark. Very short edition. We will be back Sunday night, and I promise I will, if not tomorrow night, and I will fill all of you in then. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
See you later, everybody.